On his son's birthday, the father was going to surprise him. He sent a strange box for his son to reach into. When the son's little hand was just inside, a strange bracelet instantly clasped him. The father told him that this bracelet could not be removed, but it would be of great use to him in the future. After saying all this, his father left in a hurry and never came back. The son never understood why. The year was 2067. An unprecedented heat wave sweeps across the globe as oceans and forests disappear. Cities were reduced to ashes one after another, and the only humans left can only rely on synthetic oxygen to survive. But synthetic oxygen has serious side effects. Prolonged inhalation can lead to oxygen sickness and eventually turn into a pile of bones. Jack's wife is one of them. Her health is deteriorating day by day. Jack had to work hard to earn money. He had to earn money to buy quality oxygen for his wife. That day, the fat girl from the oxygen company approached Jack. The fat girl told Jack, if we can't find a cure for the oxygen disease, in the next few years, all human beings will be extinct. He is the only one who can save the planet. Jack was shocked by this. He's just an ordinary repairman. Now he's being told he can save the planet. The two of them followed the fat girl to the lab. There's a giant time machine. The fat girl told Jack that when they turned on the time machine, a message came back from 400 years later. The message said that Jack had to be transported there, which means that 400 years later, the human race is not extinct. It's also very likely that the oxygen disease has been solved. If Jack can find the antidote and bring it back, not only will he be able to save his wife, he can also save the world. Thinking of his wife's deteriorating health, Jack left a message for his wife. He left quietly. After receiving the fat girl's assurance that the antidote would be given to his wife as a matter of priority, Jack put on a special protective suit. With his intelligent assistant, he embarked on a journey through time. When he arrived in the future, he was stunned by what he saw. Jack traveled in a time machine to Earth 400 years later, where not only are there trees everywhere and fresh air, but when he came to the city, he found the city in ruins. Not a single human being. The human race did not survive the oxygen crisis. It's a dying breed. If that's the case, then who sent the message 400 years later? Jack arrived at a base through his intelligent assistant. He found a white skeleton lying on the doorstep. There was a bullet hole in his forehead. When Jack took a closer look, he found his name was written on his clothes. There was an identical intelligent assistant beside him. This scared Jack to death. Jack took off the bracelet on the white bone's hand and found that except for the color of the light, the rest is exactly the same. Is he going to die here? He tried to open the gate of the base, but he couldn't open it at all. He turned on his intelligent assistant. He wanted to listen to the recording. In the recording, there was a man arguing with him. The other guy lost his temper and shot Jack. This puzzled Jack. By the end of the night, Jack's trying to fill his stomach. He ate a bunch of wild fruits, but later in the night, Jack began to vomit, and his stomach hurt like hell. And then, just then, a fireball fell from the sky, and a figure walked slowly towards him. When Jack woke up, he realized that it was his buddy, Brother Beard. After he was poisoned, the system detected a drop in his vital signs, so they sent Brother Beard here to save him. They followed the intelligent assistant to another abandoned base. When Jack reached the door, a machine scanned Jack's pupils. The door slowly opened. As they entered the base, they found a small message written on the screen. Welcome, Jack. Jack was dumbfounded. He followed the prompts and pressed the confirmation button. The screen said to start gene harvesting. The bracelet on Jack's hand began to collect blood. Then it turned from red to green. When everything was verified, the lights around them lit up. When they saw what was in front of them, the two of them were instantly confused. Isn't this the lab from 400 years ago? The portal was activated at that moment. In 4 hours, they will be transported back to the year 2067. Jack then looked up the system logs. It turns out that his father built this time machine. Right after it was built, they received a message from 400 years later. Suddenly, the system issued an alarm. The energy core is malfunctioning. It must be resolved as soon as possible. Otherwise, there will be a nuclear explosion. The two of them then set off for the energy core. When they came out of the forest, they saw a scene that they couldn't believe. Jack traveled in a time machine to Earth 400 years later. Though there's lush vegetation, but there's not a single human being. His wife is still waiting for him 400 years ago. Jack and the bearded man planned to fix the time machine, to go back 400 years. When Jack passed by his previous home, he saw his wife's bones and the note he left behind. He couldn't accept the death of his wife. He had to find a way to go back. Under the comfort of Brother Beard, Jack gradually stabilized. Suddenly, he couldn't react properly. He took out his old smart assistant, played the previous recording. That person's voice is exactly the same as Brother Beard's. Beardy suddenly drew his pistol and pointed it at Jack. Jack couldn't believe it. At this very moment, 2 hours before the nuclear explosion, Brother Beard pulled Jack to fix the system. Just as Beardy was breathing a sigh of relief, Jack opened another door. He found the white bones lying on the ground. Looking at the bracelet on his hand, he remembered Beard's pistol again. He put the battery in the old smart assistant. When the last video was played, it was the scene where Beardy killed Jack. Eventually, Beardy told the truth. When his father first built the time machine, they already knew that they couldn't solve the crisis on Earth. The fat lady planned to transport a few people to the future, to rebuild a new civilization. But my father knew knew about Fatty's plan, so he set the time machine 400 years later. He set it so that only Jack's genes could activate it. This made the fat girl very angry. She shot Jack's father dead. The fat girl asked Mr. Beard to look for Jack and protect him. Beardy took out his pistol and pointed it at Jack. Everything was just like in the recording. But when it comes to the little guy he's been taking care of for years, Brother Beard couldn't do it. In order for Jack to survive, Brother Beard ended his own life. Looking at the time machine that is about to open, he knew that Fatty and the others would arrive soon. In order to save mankind, he sent the message teleport Jack to his father, and history closed the loop. Just as the fat girl was about to teleport, the time machine flickered, and what appeared in front of everyone? It was an extinct plant, and there was evidence that the fat girl had killed Jack's father and was planning to leave with a small group of people, and Jack destroyed the time machine immediately. He wanted to give humanity hope. Instead of fleeing the planet, he trapped himself in the year 2467. When Jack walked out of the base, he realized that the white bones in the doorway had disappeared. A bold idea came to his mind. He rushed out of the forest, and found that the once dilapidated landscape had been transformed. History had changed, and mankind had been saved.